Sydney Sweeney is currently doing the press circuit for her new movie Immaculate, in which she plays a nun who mysteriously gets pregnant. And she recently responded to the critics who say a lot of things about the fact that she shows her body, specifically in Euphoria and a lot of projects she's in. She does, in fact, do a lot of scenes where she shows her body, and she's now kind of become known for it. Her decision to wear revealing outfits has been heavily debated, and it's been politicized. When I was gone, you made that video, Sydney Sweeney Ends Wokeness, because in her SNL monologue, she was joking about how she's known as the girl on TV who screams, cries, and has sex, sometimes all at once. She knows that that's what her persona is, and I think that she's subtly trying to counteract it with all of these interviews she's doing lately.
She seems very calculated in her business decisions, actually. I feel like it's like when we talk about sometimes, like, for somebody to come across as like in disarray, or for things to work out a certain way, say a lot of work goes into making something seem like an accident. To her, a lot of work goes into making her seem kind of aloof and ditzy.
Right. Yeah. So in this Variety interview, they asked her, after your SNL episode, I was struck by the way people talk and write about your body, including at times in a politicized way. Does that conversation reach you, and what's your reaction to it? Sydney responded, I see it, and I just can't allow myself to have a reaction. I don't know how to explain it. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. People feel connected and free to be able to speak about me in whatever way they want because they believe that I've signed my life away, that I'm not on a human level anymore because I'm an actor, that these characters are for everybody else, but then me as Sydney is not for me anymore. It's this weird relationship that people have with me that I have no control or say over.
Unfortunately, that is the simple fact of becoming a public figure. You do not have a choice. It's like when we talk about celebrities and creatives who, when they put their art out there, they want you to take their art as they see it, when that's not the point of art. The point is they put the art out there into the world, and it is up to you as the audience, especially the paying audience, to judge that art as you see fit. And there's very little distinguishing between that and the person behind the character, because there's such a cult of celebrity around certain people these days. For a time where we talk about how there aren't any new movie stars, there certainly is more hero worship of celebrities than there ever has been.
I think that Sydney Sweeney and a lot of other actresses these days want all of the benefits of doing sex scenes, showing their body, and honestly sexualizing themselves, but then they are shocked and offended at the consequences of how they're viewed in the public.
Whereas most previous generations, when they went down that route, they accepted that that was something that was going to happen to them.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, I think she seems like a well-meaning person who probably was never even told that showing your body to millions of people is even a bad idea. Like, nobody probably even suggested to her that that might not work out well. But she went down that path, and now it's like she doesn't want people to view her as an object. But you don't get that choice.
I still think she's infinitely better at phrasing this stuff than most of the people in this space. When she says, can you reread the first part she said back?
I can't allow myself to have a reaction.
That part I like. Because what she's saying is like, I can't control what people say, but I can control whether I react to something or not.
Sure.
That is fair.
I think the way she's reacting to it is by getting involved in all of these different creative projects so that people will start to take her seriously. And hopefully that will happen for her. However,
she's got time.
For now, people are going to remember you for the most shocking thing about you, as you said off air, Brett. Like, people are going to remember you for your body if you are banking roles off of sexuality and nudity. And that's what she's been doing. And someone pointed out in the comments, hey, it's not like she's trying to hide her body from public view. And someone said, why should she? No member of the female gender of whatever age should ever have to not do something because it might trigger pathetic, weak-minded creeps to indulge in lewd thought and behavior because they refuse to control themselves. I think that is a perfect example of the discourse right now. I am so sick of the gaslighting. You do something crazy for attention, and then you act like we're crazy for reacting and paying attention to it. Mm-hmm. You did something outrageous, and then you got the outrage. Why are you shocked?
Because they want the outrage to be only in support, and not even not in support, but just asking questions. I'm just asking questions, or calling into question what any of this means. They want all of the benefits, but none of the pushback. But the point is, you get the fame and popularity through the pushback, right?
That's true. I think the controversy got her more notoriety than her boobs did.
And the other thing is, I look at stuff like this and I say, look, the world is what it's always going to be, and there's nothing you can do about that. The quicker you accept that, the happier you'll be. I tried to formulate thoughts the other night. The most underrated phrase that ever existed was, the world isn't fair. And the second you learn to accept that, now I was thinking of it more in the context, I was talking to someone about tenets of Marxism and race Marxism. And so we were having a discussion about this. And I said, like, one of the lost concepts of the world today is that, you know, if you live in a singular existence and you don't think constantly about the struggles of everyone but just yourself, right? Like, if you think about just you, the world isn't fair. The world isn't always going to be fair. And the sooner you accept that, the happier you will be, because you will learn that it's not just about the things that you don't have, but it's to flourish with the things that you do. But the problem is, people don't want to accept reality for what it is anymore. In this context, what I'm saying is, like, look, you're going to put this out there. You're going to make your money. You're going to find fame. You're going to find adulation. You're going to find more roles. And the people that have negative things to say about it or critique your choices are always going to exist. They will exist if you did nothing but fuddy-duddy roles where you wore nothing but, a top zipped all the way up to your neckline. Those people will still be there to criticize you. There'll just be far fewer of them, and you'll also get far fewer positive reactions as well. That's just the way Hollywood is.
Yeah, it's difficult to say because people obviously really like Sydney Sweeney, and her personality definitely, she has a magnetic personality, and there are plenty of hot women in Hollywood who are not getting the same attention as her right now because her personality is special and it stands out. So I think that she is getting undersold, but it's not anyone else's fault. She's the one who's underselling her own potential by doing she did a literal gangbang porn scene in Euphoria. Fully, like, naked gangbang scene in Euphoria. When you do that, that's what you're going to be known for. And I'm sure she has a lot of artistic talent and acting talent, and it's going to be overlooked, and you're going to have to prove yourself after you've done something so degrading. So she also did an interview with GQ just a couple days ago, and they addressed this issue again. They rehashed it again. And they said, when Sweeney and I met 18 months ago, we spoke about her body and the strange sense of ownership that strangers seem to claim over it. My body doesn't define who I am, she told me. That literally means nothing.
Outside, unless these people know you as an individual, yes, it does. To a lot of these people, yes, it does. This is what I was talking about. Just because you don't believe it to be true doesn't mean it factually isn't.
I thought about that line during the maddeningly stupid discourse about whether her breasts on SNL were intended as product placement for the end of woke. Sweeney wanted to use SNL to laugh at what people said about her, joking in her opening monologue that her 5-year business plan that she presented to her parents to get into acting had a backup plan: show boobs. As she says, laughing, there are so many people out there who are like, oh, she's famous because she showed her boobs. Okay, when you show your boobs to millions of people, they're going to say that you're famous because you showed your boobs to millions of people. Is that so outlandish to assume that? And then she said, you just learn the system. You can try and fight it, but they just fight back. Even if you stand up for yourself, people are going to attack you for standing up for yourself.
I want to address a comment in the chat. I think this is really good. Nerdy Film Girl says, it's not degrading. Her character has been developing over the seasons, and the show is all about the consequences of bad decisions people make when they are young. See, here's the thing, though. What she's talking about in the show, and I think that's good to point out character development, but the problem is what she's talking about is that the people who are judging her aren't talking about the storylines or the characterization of these characters that she's playing. What they're talking about is just the surface level characteristics that she finds these people can't get past, right? So even if it's the most perfectly told story in history, a lot of people won't see past that to the deeper meaning of the story, whatever that is, because that's just how people are. Most people, especially in online discourse, won't make that distinction. And if you don't believe me, go down under any post about her and look at the GIFs that are posted. It's not about the storyline that are being told in these stories. And unfortunately, that's something she's going to have to accept because that's just the way of the world.
It's not about the story. It's about the pornographic element of it. And I completely disagree. I think that it is degrading. Even if you can justify it by saying, oh, it's part of the story, it's part of her character. I disagree. I think that Sam Levinson, Euphoria's show creator and the showrunner, is a pervert who intentionally wants to include as much graphic sexual content as possible, even where it theoretically doesn't even belong for the storyline purposes. I do think it is degrading and pornographic what she's doing.
Thank you, Nerdy Film Girl. I just think it was an interesting point to be made, though. So thank you for that comment. But she also had her comments about Madam Web. She's got a 5-year plan. She does.
Yes, just like Dakota Johnson did, Sydney Sweeney is being asked to answer for the flop that was Madam Web. She said she used it as a building block for her career. It's what allowed me to build a relationship with Sony. Without doing Madam Web, I wouldn't have a relationship with the decision makers over there. Everything in my career, I do not just for that story, but strategic business decisions. Because I did that, I was able to sell Anyone But You. I was able to get Barbarella. And she also made very polite comments about how this is much different from the filmmaking process that she's experienced before. She wishes that she could have had more creative input, but she wasn't a producer for Madam Web, so it wasn't her place. She was essentially being an actor for hire.
Yeah.
So she came out looking good, as did Dakota Johnson. And I also just wanted to talk about Sydney Sweeney's addiction to ice cream.
This is where she really does.
It's really giving Marilyn Monroe.
She polled all the men she knows. She goes, what would make me the fantasy girl of every man on planet Earth?
Yeah. I remember reading about like Marilyn Monroe's diet, and she talked about how she would sometimes stop by, like, I guess they would sell sundaes at like drugstores back then, right? She would get a sundae on her way home every night. Sydney Sweeney just revealed in an interview with Vogue that she has a bowl of ice cream before bed every night. I really enjoy ice cream. I feel like it keeps me from waking up. It's just so comforting.
I already told you I loved her, Bob. You don't need to make me love her more. Like, seriously. And then beyond that, we have this clip of her reading the Bible. Do we not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's listen to Sydney Sweeney reading the Bible. I'm going to tell my kids that this is the Virgin Mary.
2 Kings, chapter 2, verses 23 to 24. From there, Elijah went up to Bethel. As he was walking along the road, some boys came out of town and jeered at him. "Get out of here, Baldy," they said. "Get out of here, Baldy." He turned around, looked at them, and called down a curse on them in the name of the Lord. Then 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the boys.
That was an advertisement for her new movie.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know.
So so what you're saying is that was a real verse, but she just changed a couple of words?
I think she changed the words to Baldy.
Baldies? It's not blasphemy, right? You told me this is not blasphemous in any way?
The video?
Yeah.
No, but I think her movie is definitely. I am so sick of the way that Hollywood deals with Catholicism as an element of storytelling. Like they were noting in this article promoting Immaculate, the director is actually a lapsed Catholic, and he made this movie to express that you can have a struggle of faith, and like you can decide like what parts of your religion you agree with and which ones you disagree with, and then like find closure. And actually this is about how religion has put traps on women's autonomy and blah blah blah. It's about Roe v. Wade. And thankfully, Sydney Sweeney kept a distance from getting into abortion rhetoric here. But it's
she seems
just
to be
like
doing good about moving her career forward. She seems to be making
she's diversifying her portfolio,
Yeah,
which is it's good to see.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.